Howdy there champs, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be looking at one of the most often neglected parts of a PC build, and that is the power supply. And if you're spending all this money on killer hardware, you need a good power supply. I've just had one fail and I'm not happy having to pull out all the wires to return it for its warranty, and I spent all that time cable managing, or rather dodgy, spent all that time doing it. But it just means I've got to do it again, and it's so much headache. Anyway, this is the Seasonic Prime titanium 850 watt power supply. Now this is the key. Like, undoubtedly the best consumer power supply you can get. Like, I'm just saying it here now, it is the best. I've done my research and pretty much nothing compares to this, really. There's a lot of good Corsair ones out there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Corsair, but this thing is next level, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Now this is the 850 watt. You can get a 650, 750 watt. You can actually get higher wattage Seasonic Primes, but I believe they're not titanium, and this is titanium plus rated, which is the best rating you can get for a power supply. So when you're talking about efficiency ratings there, you know, you're just messing around with gold and platinum. Titanium plus is the king, and this is 80 plus titanium, which is over 94% efficiency, I believe. It is just next level compared to platinum and 2 levels above gold. So you're not messing around if you get an 80 plus platinum power supply. Now have a look at the box, have a look at that there, 10-year warranty. Now these things aren't cheap. I think that this one is around $200 US, I think, for the 850 watt. The 750 is $159 US. This costs like $360 in Australia. Not cheap. Don't cheap out on your power supply, especially if you're going to overclock and that. I'll get to it later, but very important that you have a very tightly regulated power supply, and one that supplies the most tightest voltage regulation. If you go to PC Per website, I'll leave a link in the description to a full review, and this is a review by someone who's actually electrical engineer, and he pulls it apart, and he said, bar none, this is the best power supply he's ever tested. And when it comes to cons at the end, he says, faults, I'm still looking for one. Like, it's almost perfection. I'll leave a link to the PC Per review of this power supply. Nice box here, silver, like a sort of metallic silver there, reflective. On the back it says micro tolerances, and basically that means that this actually has extra wires in it where it actually senses the load that it's pushing in and out between the motherboard and the power supplies, and actually corrects the voltage from the power supply. It doesn't just push current to your motherboard and let the motherboard and the components choose what it's going to do. It actually monitors it itself and then regulates the voltage. Much better efficiency, and that's why it rates off the charts compared to any other power supply. So it has a top quality 135mm fluid dynamic bearing fan, so very quiet fan. You can set it in hybrid mode, press the hybrid button, and typically the fan will not come on until up to 50% of load, and then when it comes on, very quiet anyway, you won't really hear it. So it has super low ripple noise, and we're talking under 20 millivolt. Now that's unheard of. Of course, it's fully modular, supports multiple GPUs, and it has gold plated high current terminals, so no expense has been spared with this power supply. And it's hard to get excited about a power supply, but this has definitely got me excited. It's actually Seasonic's first redesign in 10 years, and pretty much Seasonic's old design was known as pretty much the best in the industry, or one of the best. What you might not know is Seasonic make power supplies for many of the big brands out there, including Corsair. Some of the Corsair models, they're actually Seasonic, and there's other big brands too. Let's have a look what we get in here. Okay, so you get the screws, some cable management, you get a little badge there that you can put on your PC, and all the literature there. In this box here, you obviously have all the cables and the power cord. For what it's worth, they're flat ribbon cables, so they're very good to cable manage. There you have it. That's the power supply. That's the case it comes in. It's sort of like a felt case. Boom, there you have it, the Prime. And as far as power supplies goes, it's pretty damn sexy, isn't it? Look at that. It's actually got like a vent there, sort of thing. On the back here, you have that hybrid button there, so you press that and it will turn the fan off until you reach a certain amount of load or temperature. It can go up to 50% without using the fan. I just leave the fan on because it's not noisy anyway. You have your switch and obviously your power jack where you plug in the power. It is a prime piece of kit, that's for sure. 10-year warranty. They really stand behind their product, and as I said, the first redesign in 10 years, controlled digitally, and it's their first one. Any power supply that you may have is basically based on very old technology. It's not an analog controlled PSU. It's just in every single way it's next level. Of course it's fully modular, and just you look at that review and you'll see it just smashes every test, cleans house over every power supply out there. 80 plus platinum, super efficiency there. If you have your components just stock, whatever, doesn't really matter that much. But because this has that micro tolerance load regulator, when you overclock, one of the biggest things that makes your system unstable is irregular voltage. And what I mean by that is you can have your CPU, GPU cool and heat all under control. But what you usually do is you just whack voltage into it to try and keep it up, to make sure it's stable. The problem is that voltage is not consistent. So if you say, for example, I'll just rip a number from anywhere, say you're putting 2 volts into something, the actual amount of voltage your system's getting, so you set 2 volts, whatever in your BIOS, it's not 2 volts, it's getting 1.98, 1.97, whatever, 1.95, 2.10, whatever. And when you overclock, that's what crashes your system the most, other than heat, is those irregularities in that voltage, that little tiny fluctuations. Your GPU and CPU becomes more sensitive to those sort of fluctuations when it's been overclocked. And this one here, this power supply here, this will get you better overclocks because you're getting micro tolerance load regulation. Like within pretty much when you're pumping 2 volts with this, you're nearly getting within millivolts the correct voltage or current that you're setting. And that's because it's all controlled with that digital PWM, and it has those extra sensors in there, basically monitor the micro tolerances and correct the voltage and current to within unheard of levels in the consumer PSU. So that's why I bought this. That's why it's the best. And if you want the best power supply, get this. This is it. I've done my research and I'm going to whack it in the machine, and hopefully I'll have years, well, at least 10 years of pain-free power for my PC. And my reasons for buying the Seasonic Prime Titanium 850 watt power supply with 80 plus platinum certification there. If you're spending money on your system, get one of these. Thanks guys for watching. Give me a thumbs out there, I'd really appreciate that. And if you're new around here, why not subscribe? And until next time guys, tally ho.